G'day, I'm Ross from Firehouse Barbecue. Today we're going to be cooking Texas-style beef ribs. So when you're looking at beef ribs, you want to source them from your local butcher and you want to find something that's got as much nice marbled meat as you can. This fat cap on top, it's got to go. So when it comes to trimming, you want to remove all that fat cap off the top so you just see the nice, beautiful meat underneath. Nice and smooth, big long strides with your knife so you don't get lots of divots. So when you're looking at those last little bits of fat on top, instead of trying to dig down into it, hold it up over like that. Slice and pivot your knife slightly upwards. What that's going to mean is you're not going to get those divots in it. When it comes to that membrane on the back with pork ribs, you definitely want to be removing it, but with beef ribs, you can leave it on. So next we're going to be applying the rub. When we were in Texas a few years ago, we travelled around a lot of different barbecue joints, and what we found is that salt and pepper was absolute king. There's a lot of really great rubs out on the market, but we find when it comes to beef ribs, salt and pepper's where it's at. We love using a 16 mesh coarse ground pepper and a nice flaky salt like kosher. What happens with a flaky salt, it doesn't pack on as heavily and you get that nice saltiness flavour without overpowering your protein. When it comes to ratio, we love using a 3 pepper to 1 salt ratio. We find it gives you the best balance of flavour for your beef ribs. So you've got your pepper and your salt in there now, you got to get it shaken up. When it comes to applying your rub, a nice even coat from a distance across your beef ribs is what you're looking for. And make sure you hit all the edges around the side. A lot of people, you can pick it up like that, and with your leftovers on the board, tap it in the areas where you've got excess rub. That means you get perfect coverage every time. Now that we've seasoned up our beef ribs, we're going to leave it on the bench for about 15 to 20 minutes to allow that rub to tack up, bind to the meat while we get our smoker going. So when it comes to the barbecue today, we're going to be using a bullet smoker. You can pick these up for a couple $100 at your local barbecue store. They're really versatile, easy to use, and if you're getting into barbecue, this is definitely what you need to get your hands on. Now to get your barbecue going, what you're going to do is remove the main section of your bullet smoker, fill up the base with Heat Beads coconut briquettes, push them all to the side, and then you're going to have a fully lit ashed over chimney of charcoal, which you're then going to pour into the centre. And what this is going to do, it's going to give you a longer cook so you don't have to keep changing charcoal. You're going to get about 7 to 8 hours from this method. So to add a bit extra flavour, we're going to add some smoking woods to our barbecue. And what that's going to do, it's going to add a little bit more flavour to your meat. And what we're going to do, we're going to place them around the side to add a nice smoky flavour to your beef. So now that you've got your fire going and your wood chunks on, you can put the main chamber of your bullet smoker on. There's a water pan inside. Now some people will use the water pan. For beef ribs, you don't need to. What the water pan will do, it'll actually suck in a lot of energy, so it makes it harder to get your pit up to temperature. With your vents, you've got your top vent. You want to keep that open all the time, 100%. That allows all your smoke that hits the top of your smoker to come out, and you don't get this dirty smoke sitting inside. So you've got 3 vents at the bottom of the smoker, and that's going to control how much air comes into your fire. What I generally do is I'll have 2 fully open and 1 about half open. You want to run your smoker at about 275 to 325 Fahrenheit. That's your magic range for cooking beef ribs. So now that our beef ribs have been sitting on the bench for about 20 minutes, you can see that rub's tacked up nicely on it. All right, let's get smoking. Beef ribs, straight onto that top shelf, on the middle, beautiful. So now that your beef ribs are on, you want to maintain that smoker temperature at about 275 to 325 Fahrenheit. For your first couple of hours, you don't need to be taking your lid off, but after a couple of hours, take it off, have a look if there's any dry spots, and if there are, spritz bottle with water and a bit of apple cider vinegar, and just a light spritz. Now, how do you know when your beef ribs are done? What you want to do is use an instant read thermometer, and they're going to probe internally at about 205 to 210 Fahrenheit, or like warm room temperature butter. And there's no resistance at all when you're probing your beef ribs. I wonder why 17 feels like 18. These ribs are bang on, guys. They're 210 on the dot. I couldn't have scripted it better. Let's get them off. And there you have it, guys. Beef ribs cooked over pecan wood chunks, and check out that beautiful smoke ring. Now for the famous squish test.